Einstein theory of specific relativity, time travel and Mahabharat. Einstein's theory of special relativity says that time slows down or speeds up depending on how fast you move relative to something else. Approaching the speed of light, a person inside a spaceship would age much slower than his twin at home. Also, under Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity can bend time. Let's take example of a 20-year round trip for him, 5 years accelerating, 5 decelerating, twice each, will land him back on Earth having traveled for 335 Earth years and a distance of 331 light years. A full 40-year trip at 1 gram will appear on Earth to last 58,000 years and covers a distance of 55,000 light years. A 40-year trip at 1.1 grams will take 1,48,000 Earth years and cover about 1,40,000 light years. A one-way 28-year, 14 years accelerating, 14 decelerating as measured with the astronaut's clock, trip at 1g acceleration could reach 20 lakh light-years to the Andromeda galaxy. The same time dilation is why a moon traveling close to sea is observed to travel much further than sea times its half-life, when at rest. Time dilation is a difference in the elapsed time measured by two clocks, either due to them having a velocity relative to each other, or by there being a gravitational potential difference between their locations. After compensating for varying signal delays due to the changing distance between an observer and a moving clock, i.e. Doppler effect, the observer will measure the moving clock as ticking slower than a clock that is at rest in the observer's own reference frame. A clock that is close to a massive body, and which therefore is at lower gravitational potential, will record less elapsed time than a clock situated further from the said massive body, and which is at a higher gravitational potential. Entire Earth has different time zone, different climate, different topography, due to that there is difference in food, behavior, lifestyle, longevity. Whole Earth is not having uniform time zone, landscapes and daytime. If Britain is having morning, in Indian it will be night. This thing also applies in whole cosmology. What happens at microscopic level happens at macroscopic level. Time shrink when we go upper extraterrestrial planet and time decreases when we go to lower extraterrestrial planets. For example, we can say that 1 hour in upper legions of planets will elapse 300 years of Earth and 30 days if we go down legion of planets. The result may vary with location of planet and its size and rotation speed. Theory of specific relativity evidences in Mahabharata. One of first time travel stories appear in Mahabharata. In both stories, people travel to upper legions of universe and when they return back to Earth then their entire kingdom, relatives and everything has vanished. First story comes of Kalayavana. He was the king of Yavanas, Greek, who invaded Mathura with 3 million army against Krishna. He had got a boon from Lord Brahma that on the battlefield he will be undefeated. The Yavanas greatly outnumbered all the Yadavas decided to challenge Krishna for a duel. Krishna strategically fled the battlefield. Shri Krishna lured Kalayavana into the cave where the great king of Treta Yuga, Muchukunda, one of the forefathers of Lord Sri Rama, was in a deep slumber of thousands of years after helping Devas in an epic war with Asuras. Now who was Muchukunda? He was son of King Mandhata and brother of equally illustrious Amrisha, was born in the Ikshvaku dynasty. Ikshvaku dynasty is also known as Suryavamsha. The important kings of this dynasty were Harishchandra, Dilip, Raghu and Rama. Once, in a battle, the Devas were defeated by the Asuras. Tormented by arrows, they sought help from King Muchukunda. King Muchukunda agreed to help them and fought against the Asuras for a long time. Since the Devas did not have an able commander, King Muchukunda protected them against the onslaught by Asuras, until the Devas got an able commander like Kartikeya, the son of Lord Shiva. Then Indra said to the King Muchukunda, O King, we, the Devas, are indebted to you for the help and protection which you have given us, by sacrificing your own family life. Here in the heaven, 1 second equals 1 year of the earth and you had fought with Asuras for 1 year of heaven. Since it has been a long time, there is no sign of your kingdom and family because it has been destroyed with the passage of time. We are happy and pleased with you, so ask for any boon except moksha, liberation, because moksha, liberation, is beyond our capacities. Muchukunda asks Indra for a boon to sleep. While fighting on the side of the Devas, King Muchukunda did not get an opportunity to sleep even for a moment. Now, since his responsibilities were overcome by tiredness, he was feeling very sleepy. So, he said, O King of the Devas, I want to sleep. Anyone who dares to disturb my sleep should get burned to ashes immediately. Indra said, so be it, go to the earth and enjoy your sleep. One who awakens you would be reduced to ashes. Contemplating an absolutely undisturbed sleep, he was given a boon by Lord Indra that anyone who dared to disturb his sleep would get burned to ashes immediately. Fast forward to Dwapara Yuga. In the darkness deep inside the cave, Krishna covered Muchkunda with his shawl. Kalayavan, assuming him to be Krishna, kicked him, thus disturbing his sleep and burning into ashes. Must have been some laser-like technology. And then Muchukunda was delighted to see Lord Sri Krishna there, who was none other than Lord Vishnu. Sri Krishna advises him to perform tapas to cleanse the accumulated sins to attain moksha, liberation. After meeting with Lord, Muchukunda sets out of the cave. Muchukunda then goes north to Gandamadana mountain and from there to Badrikashrama for doing penance and finally achieves liberation, the moksha. From above story, three things comes out. One is time elapse in Swarga and earth, another is sleeping hibernation in cave, must have maintained a certain climatic condition, and third laser-like technology, which activated and acted when Muchukunda moved, artificial intelligence. 2. Revati. Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu Purana and Garga Samhita narrates the tale of Revati with some variation. The former two do not mention her previous birth. Revati was the only daughter of King Kakudni, sometimes called Kakudni, Rivata or Raivata, a powerful monarch who ruled Kusasthali, a prosperous and advanced kingdom under the sea, and who also controlled large tracts of land, including Anartha kingdom. Kakudni was of pure character and a benevolent ruler. He had one very beautiful daughter named Revati, endowed with all auspicious qualities. Although considered human, Kakudni seemed to have been endowed with mystic powers. Kakudni was able to take his daughter Revati with him and travel to Brahma Loka, the plane of existence where Brahma, the creator, resides, and to speak with Brahma at will. Comments. First thing which strike on mind that Kusasthali was a prosperous and advanced kingdom inside sea, which means he was an amphibian man, much like similar story of Bhima. Who got 5,000 elephant power in sea was amphibious, much contemplates with modern day Aquaman story. Large tracts of land must be islands spread around ancient Dwarka. Today's geographical location of Dwarka is very different. Now what is Anartha kingdom? It was ancient kingdom, story is available. Krishna ruled this part. Now if I say it was an intraterrestrial kingdom and sea, it was kingdom where people used to reside in sea of Arabian Ocean area, like a submarine. It was modern, advanced and hyper technology. Which means his kingdom and Lord Krishna kingdom were almost same. Dwarka, a city on land, a city under sea, a city inside sea and lands on islands. Thinking no one could prove to be good enough to marry his beautiful daughter, Kakudni took Revati with him to Brahma Loka, planetary system Adobe of Brahma, the home of Brahma, to ask the gods' advice about finding a suitable husband for her. When they arrived, Brahma was listening to a musical performance by the Gandharvas, so they waited patiently until the performance was finished. Finally, King Kakudni humbly bowed humbly and made his request. O Brahm! To whom shall I betroth this daughter? I have come to you to ask on this point. I have searched for many princes and seen also a good many of them, and none of them is to my liking, and so my mind is not at rest. Brahma laughed at the foolishness of the king. O king! The princes that you thought would become the bridegroom of your daughter, all died, their sons and grandsons and their friends even have all passed away. Time, Brahma goes on to explain, runs differently on different planes of existence. During the time they had waited in Brahmaloka to see him, 27 Chatur Yugas had passed on earth. A Chatur Yuga is a cycle of 4 Yugas, hence 27 Chatur Yugas, total 108 Yugas. The Garga Samhita differs and says 27 Yugas in total had passed on earth and all the candidates had died long ago. Brahma added that Kakudni was now alone as his friends, ministers, servants, wives, kinsmen, armies and treasures had now vanished from earth and he should soon bestow his daughter to a husband as Kali Yuga was near. The king and his daughter were overcome with astonishment and grief for everything they had lost, but Brahma comforted them and recommended a worthy husband currently on earth, Balrama, the twin brother of Krishna. Balrama, and he recommended Balrama as a worthy husband for Revati. Kakudni and Revati then returned to earth, which they regarded as having left only just a short while ago. They were shocked by the changes that had taken place. Not only had the landscape and environment changed, but over the intervening 27 Chatur Yugas, in the cycles of human spiritual and cultural evolution, mankind was at a lower level of development than in their own time. The Bhagavata Purana describes that they found the race of men had become dwindled in stature, reduced in vigor, and enfeebled in intellect. Marriage to Balrama. Kakudni and Revati found Balrama and proposed the marriage. Because she was from an earlier yuga, Revati was far taller and larger than her husband to be, but Balrama tapped his plough, his characteristic weapon, on her head or shoulder and she shrunk to the normal height of people in Balrama's age. The marriage was then duly celebrated. Revati bore her husband two sons, Nishata and Ulmuka. Both her sons Nishata and Ulmuka were killed in the Yadu fratricidal war, after which Balrama also ended his earthly incarnation in meditation by the sea. 4. At his funeral ceremony, Revati ascended onto his funeral pyre and was immolated with him. Analysis. What is really interesting though, is how similar their view of time was 2500 years ago to how physicists and astronomers conceptualize space-time today. In the theory of relativity as proposed by Albert Einstein, time is relative to the observer's frame of reference. It depends on the observer's motion and strength of gravity. For instance, one could argue that time here on Earth runs slower than in space because gravity slows the passage of time. In the same way that Einstein says time is relative to the observer's frame of reference, it depends on the observer's motion and strength of gravity. Brahma tells the father and daughter 2500 years before Einstein was even born that time runs differently on different planes of existence. That is, during the time they had waited in Brahmaloka to see Brahma, 27 Chatur Yugas had passed on earth. Everything that Kakudni had and owned, his friends and family, his sons and wife, his armies and treasures, had vanished with the time that had passed. Hindu philosophy was familiar with the concept that time is relative, and many passages on the Vedic scriptures continuously point out that the cosmic time of the gods is different than the time on earth. 1 Chatur Yuga is equivalent to 43,20,000 human years. Were King Kakudni and his daughter two unwitting time travelers? What they thought were just minutes in front God Brahma, millennia had taken place at home. When they came back, they did so to a vastly different place. Wormholes, although theoretical, are tunnels or shortcuts predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity that link two places in spacetime, as visualized above, where negative energy pulls space and time into the mouth of a tunnel, emerging in another time or place in the universe, or possibly even another universe. Wormholes remain hypothetical but have been used in science fiction and films as conduits for time travel, for example as found in the movie Time Bandits, 1981, where their locations are shown on a celestial map. Notice the circle within a circle on the map. It is almost as though you are above looking top-down into an Einstein-Rosen bridge. Today, we so often think of time as an arrow moving in one direction, with a beginning, middle and end. But it is interesting to look at different cultures and how they view time. Their perceptions help us look at time, and the idea of time travel, a little bit differently.